In this video we're going to talk about inequalities in two triangles. So if we're given two different triangles, on how we can figure out which side or angle is going to be the largest. So in this little diagram up here, this is just a way to show, to make you understand how this is going to work. So if you look at your picture, here's the first part. If our gate is one of the sides of this triangle, so as the gate opens wider and wider, so as this angle A gets larger and larger, the side BC, so the side that's across from it, so BC, it's getting larger and larger. So as the gate opens wider, so as angle A gets larger, the length of side BC also gets larger, and that's across from the triangle, or across from that angle that is changing. This is called the hinge theorem, and that gate is an example of it. So when we have two different triangles right here, so if we have two sides of one triangle, so first we have to have two sides are congruent to each other and to two sides in another triangle. And the included angle of the first, so this 88, is larger than the included angle of the second. Then that tells us that the side that's across from it, so the third side, is going to be longer than the third side in the other triangle. So what I think of it as is if we draw an arrow going across our triangle for both of those from the different angles. So since 88 is larger, then I know that WX will be larger than my ST, but you have to have the congruent angles there first, and then you're just looking at the angle and the sides that's across from it. So the converse is the opposite. So we first start with two sides that are congruent again. Then that tells us that if the third side is larger than the third side in the other triangle, so my 12 is bigger than my 9, then that tells us that the angle that is across from it, so the included angle, the 12 triangle, so my angle C, should be larger than my angle F, because 12 is bigger than 9, so C has to be bigger than F. So again, the way that I think of it is as long as you have those congruent sides first, you have to have both of those, then we can just look at the different sides. So if they give us two sides, then I know I can compare angle C to angle F, and angle C is bigger than angle F because the 12 is bigger than 9. Or you can say that angle F is smaller than angle C. On this one, we're going to use that information now to figure out which side or which angle is going to be larger. So in this first triangle, PS is also congruent to each other because they share that side. So that's the thing you're going to see come up quite a bit now. Then it says we need to compare the two different angles. So the two different angles they're talking about is the SPR, and that's this angle right here, and angle PST, and that's this block angle right here. So how do those two angles compare? Well, we need to look at the sides across from them. So the 24 and our 23, because our 24 is larger, then that means that the angle, my black angle, PST, is also going to be the larger of the two angles. So that's the way I would write it. So next I would like you to try the next two problems. When you're ready to check your answer, go ahead, push play, and then I can go through the answers. Alright, so the same thing happens with our congruent sides in the middle. That's what you should have set up first. Next, if they give you that PR is equal to PS, that part is already drawn in your picture, and they're telling you different things about the angles. So angle QPR, so QPR is right here. That angle right there is going to be larger than angle QPS that I have drawn now inside my picture. Then that means that the side across from the larger one, so my QR is going to be the largest side. So next, for the next one, again, where PQ is going to be congruent to PQ because it's reflective, or really it's just because the side is shared, they tell us that our RQ right here is smaller than SQ. So when they're asking which angle is going to be larger, we need to look at the larger side, and that would be our angle right here. So SPQ or QPS, and that is this angle right here is going to be the larger of the two angles, since that's the angle that's across from the larger side. These next ones are the same idea. We're just going to practice doing some more because this is the hardest thing probably to do with these sections. So next we are going to be comparing VU. So look at your pictures. So VU is right here. We're comparing that then to ST. So to do that, we need to look at the angles across from them. And we have to double check to make sure that we have congruent sides, so two sets of congruent sides, and again, they share the side in the middle. Sorry about that, I don't know what happened. So we see that the 58 is smaller than the 63. So when I'm comparing my black against the red, I know that the black angle is going to be smaller than the red angle, so that means that black sides of VU is going to be smaller than the ST, my larger side. So now I'd like you to try the same thing. So look at the side this time, and you're going to determine about the angles of which angle will be larger. So when you're ready to check your answer, go ahead and push play. All right, your final answer should be greater than, and the reason for that is because we know that the side between them is the same. So next, we look at the different sides. So that 31 is across from angle WYX, and my 29 right here is across from WYZ. So if you look at our picture that way. So it means that my black angle is going to be the larger of the two angles. So that's the way that I drew my inequality symbol right here, is greater than. In questions like this, and you will have one like this on your test, you might want to put a little star next to it. So there are two different triangles in the same picture, and it looks kind of similar to what we saw before, except we just need to use just our logic to determine which side will be the largest overall. So initially you might think that it's across from the 120 degrees, except in the triangle on the left, that side, sorry about that, so the side across from 120 is just the largest side in that left triangle. But when we look at the next triangle with my 87 and the 37 degrees up there, that the largest side in this triangle is no longer that middle side that they share, but this far side over here on the far right. So in this other triangle, it's kind of leading us through a little pathway. So first I know that in this triangle, that the side that they share is the side that is going to be the largest within this triangle. But then I look at the next triangle that it leads me to, and that's no longer the longest side, but this far side is going to be the largest side overall. So that is our largest side in our triangle. So don't get discouraged or kind of distracted by that 120. That just is your starting point, and then it leads you through the other triangles.